Hello friends, Eli here, back for a DVD, or should I say horror DVD collection video. In the background we're listening to Anas Brolichen Kulten. I probably didn't say that right, it's a hard one. Death metal out of Chile. These guys have been working pretty hard, this last 10 years or so to get their name out there. This is like their third, fourth full length at least. They got a pretty decent sized discography for as long as they've been around. So they've been working really hard. I think they're signed to Iron Bonehead now. They've been moving up and just awesome South American death metal. I've heard just about everything they've released, and I've just liked it every time. So can't go wrong with them. What else was I going to say? I don't know. Well, yeah, as you can see, I'm trying a different video, a different camera angle, different part, different location, I guess you could say. It was getting a little cluttery where I was at. I didn't want to film there, so film, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, air quotes. But I guess, yeah, we'll get on with the horror. Drinking a Jones soda. I'm sure you guys have these where you live, if you live in the U.S. Just random buy at a gas station. I saw the dog and I had to get it, of course. That's like the main reason I bought the fucking thing. Pretty good, though. Alright, guys. So we're just picking up where I left off last time. 10 DVDs. Starting with a bang in my book. One of my favorites, honestly. I don't really care what anyone thinks, but the Blair Witch Project, the original, of course. Came out in, like 99, I think? I remember, 99. I remember seeing this fucker in the theater when it came out. And so I would have been 17. I was pretty new to the world of horror at that time. I hadn't really seen much. And this movie, I don't know, left a mark on me. Not only did I think the story was great, the acting was great, and it scared the fuck out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think this movie, they are kind of to blame for. They didn't start found footage style, but they kind of they perpetuated it. I mean, to say the least. I feel like ever since this movie came out, that form of filmmaking is just blown the fuck up. Luckily, lately it's kind of slowed down a little bit because I don't know, it's way overdone at this point. But I think we all know about this movie. You all know what it is. But that's just my opinion, man. I think this movie is great. It does not deserve. I know it definitely has its fans, but it doesn't deserve the hate that it gets at all. If you're gonna hate something, maybe hate the sequel. This one isn't that bad either, but I mean, it doesn't hold a candle to the first one, and I don't really think it was supposed to. I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's a sequel in a completely different vein. It's not. It's barely related to the first one at all. So, entertaining enough watch, I guess you could say. But I doubt. I mean, I've only watched it once. I doubt I'll watch it again. As to where the first one for me is at least an 8 or a 9 out of 10. This one's maybe more of a 5 or a 6. So that's that. Here's a movie I've had for quite a while. It took me forever to get around to watching it, but if you know me well at all, that's not out of the ordinary. But we got The Bleeding House. This came out in 2011. I remember watching it on Netflix. Liked it pretty well, so I bought it. Got it really cheap at this store we used to have in town for like $3 or something. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's about this dude who is basically a serial killer. He's basically a drifter serial killer, and he wanders around pretending to be what does he pretend to be? Just a Christian, I guess, or was he a salesman? I can't remember. But he basically goes around, pretending to be this really, really, really religious dude. And to be honest, I don't remember. Maybe he is religious, but just, on the fanatical end of it. Anyways, yeah, he's basically a, sociopath, drifter, serial killer. Pretty good movie. I highly recommend that one. There's another movie I had for a long time before I, ever got around to watching it. Watched it sometime last year, maybe earlier this year. We got Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace. Obviously, it's considered a classic giallo movie. and it's good. It's not one of my favorites necessarily from that time period, but it's definitely worth watching, and it is good. It's about this, what would you call it? I guess on the back it says a fashion house, with lots of models doing kind of, illegal things, dealing drugs, prostitution, and stuff like that. And I mean, obviously, I don't want to spoil this for anyone that hasn't seen it, but murders start happening, and then it goes from there. I'm terrible at trying to describe a movie without spoiling it. It's like I almost can't do it, so I have to say a couple words about it and just shut my mouth. This next one, not a horror movie at all by conventional standards, but it's a movie I really, really like, and I guess I look for opportunities sometimes to talk about it. And also, it's a David Lynch movie, so I mean, any David Lynch movie is, in its own way, as nightmarish as any horror movie anyways. So what we have here is Blue Velvet, 25th Anniversary Edition Blu-ray. Don't really know what that means. It probably has some bonus shit on there that I never watched. But, oh man, where to start with this movie? It was a grower for me, as a lot of Lynch stuff is. Maybe all Lynch's work. It's all, it's always a grower for me. The first time I watched it, I didn't care that much for it. But like a week or two after I watched the first time, I watched it like 5 times in a row after that. I was like, oh shit, something just clicked in my head, and I decided that I loved this movie. It's got Dennis Hopper in this movie. And, Dennis Hopper is always kind of a firecracker, if you will. But, I mean, this is like one of maybe his most unhinged roles. I mean, he's just such an unpredictable psychopath in this movie. He's just, he's terrifying in that way. What to say about this movie? It's about a dude who, let's see how to say this without ruining it. He's walking, he's a totally normal dude, young guy. He's walking home from work one day, and he finds a human ear in a field where he usually cuts through to get home, and he ends up, he's very curious. Obviously, he brings it to the police, but he's incredibly curious. And it's a small town that he lives in, his hometown. He wants to find out what's going on, and he basically starts kind of investigating things and ends up getting himself into trouble. So, leave it at that. Really good movie if you like kind of suspense, type thrillers. It's awesome. It's fucking great. Next movie, also not a horror movie, but as I've said before, I kind of include dark sci-fi type stuff in my collection as well. And in my opinion, this one fits. Got a boy and his dog. I think this movie's a little hard to come by. I mean, maybe not hard, but it tends to, fetch some higher prices. But I'm no expert on like what shit's worth. But at one point when I was looking for it, that's what I remember kind of encountering. I wonder if this is the original cover on the back, because it's way cooler than the one my version has. Check that shit out. That's fucking awesome. Basically, it's got fucking Don Johnson, in a, post-apocalyptic world. 2024 to be exact. And, it's kind of a Mad Max type movie, but, it's not too much like Mad Max. I think when it comes to post-apocalyptic shit, we're always going to compare everything to Mad Max. I guess just because it's the more, it's kind of a household name at this point. It was the most successful, I guess you could say. Not saying necessarily it's the best, but I do love the Mad Max series, though. All 3 of them. Next, one of my favorite movies, and, by one of my favorite directors. We got The Brewed, David Cronenberg. Holy shit. This movie is just so awesome. I love everything David Cronenberg's ever done. But this one is about, it's about a doctor who is, let's see, how would you word this? A doctor who has, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm bad with spoilers, but it's I guess you could call it a sci-fi horror, like probably almost all of Cronenberg's movies. but you know, they all have their own unique, you know, story, of course. It's really fucking good. This movie also not a horror movie per se, but it's one of the movies that one year I was just for some reason like obsessed with werewolf movies, and I had to see all of them. So I investigated and like what's out there, and this one kept coming up on the list of, you know, some of the better shit. This is more of an action movie, if anything, but there is, you know, there is a werewolf theme to it as well. But it got Brotherhood of the Wolf. It's a French movie. I must not have read up on it, you know, too closely, because I didn't know it was going to be such an action movie. It's like a martial arts movie too, which coming from France, I mean, I just didn't see that coming. But it's cool. I mean, if you like action, you know, with some supernatural, you know, undertones, then, you know, it's a cool movie. Got a couple more. Oh man, this one's so great. I watch this movie at least once every year or two. Bava, ho-tep. Don Coscarelli directed this, you know, of Phantasm fame. Fucking love Don Coscarelli. And of course, you know, not only did Coscarelli direct it, Bruce Campbell is in it playing Elvis. I mean, this movie is insanely fucking awesome. I would also call this kind of a sci-fi horror type movie. It's just so good. It's once again, I don't want to spoil it, but it's basically, Bruce Campbell plays Elvis, who lives in a retirement home, you know, in modern days, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. I shouldn't need to say much more than that about that movie to get your, you know, pique your interest. I mean, if it takes more than that, Jesus, man, I've lost all hope in humanity. Last but not least, in my opinion, one of the best horror movies, one of the best modern, or not modern, but one of the best like mainstream horror movies in recent years. Cabin in the Woods. This one's just real fun, man. Joss Whedon wrote it. Joss Whedon of X-Men fame, and shit, he wrote some TV shows that were real popular too. I don't remember what, because I never really watched any of it, but this is just an awesome movie. I don't know how to describe this one either without spoiling it, but it definitely has some cool twists. It kind of starts off with, you know, your basic group of teens going to go camping out in the boonies, and yeah, it's got a lot of supernatural shit that kind of unfolds from there. Major Evil Dead influences. I mean, this movie wears its Evil Dead influences on its sleeves, you know, unapologetically, which is awesome. But not only Evil Dead, other horror movies definitely have influences on this movie. I mean, this movie, it proudly wears its influences on its sleeves. You know, it pays homage to, you know, to lots of different genres of horror, and it's just a fun fucking movie. It's very mainstream. This was a big movie, you know, it was in the theater. I think it did pretty well in the theater. It's got fucking, what's his name, the dude that plays Thor. Yeah, whatever his name is. He's in it, you know, it's Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, I mean, it's got some bigger name, young type actors. It's just a fun movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. That's all I got. The next video you'll see from me will probably be another CD collection video. I just don't have a lot of, disposable income right now to buy, you know, records and CDs and shit. So I have bought a couple things, but not much. I'll show those eventually when I, you know, have enough to show. But yeah, other than that, I have plenty of ideas and plenty of shit to show for, you know, I could go a long time without buying anything and just show the shit I already have. So anyways, thanks for watching. Talk to me, you know, if you've seen any of these movies, fucking let's talk about it. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk soon, hopefully. Cheers.